Hi, I'm Megan. Welcome to today's live reading of The Know-It Owl and the Otter by Terri Sabol, presented by Itsy Bitsy Book Bits. Join me. Hi, I'm Otter. I'm native to Antarctica. What? Have you seen a map? Otters ought to know where otters live. There are 13 species of otters, and they can be found on every continent except Australia and Antarctica. You are a North American otter, so you live mostly in Canada and the United States, not Antarctica. Look at my beautiful long legs. Otter ought to know that otters have four short legs to help with swimming, walking, grooming, and handling dinner. My tail is cute and fluffy like a rabbit's tail. Otter ought to know that otters have long, straight tails that narrow to a point. Their tails help them swim faster. Otters also use their tails to help balance when standing up on their hind legs. My sleek, perfect fur coat is the only one I need. Actually, you have two coats. Otter ought to know that otters have two layers of fur, the warm undercoat and the longer hairs we can see. Some species of otters can have up to 1 million hairs per square inch. Looking good, takes no time at all. I think your watch might be broken. Otter ought to know that they spend up to half the day grooming their fur in their favorite grooming spot. Otters must carefully groom their two layers of fur to clean and seal them from water. Otters don't have that fatty layer of blubber to keep them warm like other water mammals may have. I get my 8 hours of beauty rest every night. Otter ought to know that otters need about 11 hours of sleep and only sometimes sleep at night. In warmer months, otters are nocturnal because they sleep during the day. In colder months, otters are diurnal and get their beauty rest at night. I always sleep on my back in the water. Otter ought to know that freshwater otters like you sleep mostly on land. It's common to confuse river otters with sea otters who sleep on their backs, adorably holding hands while surrounded by kelp. River otters are pretty cute too, but you didn't hear me say that. I was a great swimmer as a baby and could hold my breath a really long time. Otter ought to know that otters can't swim on their own as babies. Otter pups are buoyant because they have so much air trapped between their two fur layers. They couldn't dive underwater, even if they wanted to. However, adult otters can swim underwater for up to 8 minutes. I have the best nose for hunting. Otter ought to know that otters use their eyes more than their noses. Otters even have a special eye lens to help them see underwater. I eat as seldom as a sloth. Otter ought to know that river otters have a very high metabolism and need to eat often, quite the opposite of a sloth. Otters are carnivores, and their diet includes small mammals, fish, reptiles, and shellfish. My poo smells pretty as perfume. P.U. Otter ought to know that otters have super stinky poo called spraints. It's extra smelly from their seafood diet. If you think it smells good, then we have very different taste and perfume. I'd make a great pet. Absolutely not. I think you know more about otters than I do. You ought to know that that's the first correct thing you've said all day. I am the know-it-owl, after all, and now you know more than before. The end.